Firstly, I just want to welcome everybody and thank everybody for coming here, white, black and in between. At the end of the day, it's about unity, and whatever change we're going to implement, sustained change we're going to have to do as a community, all of us, not just a minority. We're going to have to step up to the plate because we are in a multiracial society, and as such, we have to stand up as a collective to make any sustained change. I'm going to read something here that I wrote, but the reason why I'm reading it, because I'd much prefer to speak to you, the youngers, just freestyle, but I'm writing a book about the regression of today's youth and the dynamics that I feel incur this regression. So I've kind of included a few of my thoughts in this particular piece here. So if you bear with me, I'm just going to get through it and vibe with you, and hopefully we can answer some questions later on in regard to Smiley and the campaign for justice. Before I go any further, if you do want to keep in contact with the campaign for justice for Smiley Culture, you can catch us on Facebook, where all our strategies and all the updates are regularly being posted. So once again, you just type in campaign for justice for Smiley Culture, and that's Facebook, and you'll find it, like it, and you'll be rolling with us. Okay. I'm truly honoured, which is true, to be here to address potentially our most brilliant generation. A generation unafraid to speak to those in power, and a generation that has access to unlimited knowledge, unafraid to ask new questions and challenge a system that has oppressed us as a people for many, many years. However, it is how we utilise the knowledge we now have as individuals, and more importantly as a collective, that will define our path of change and degree of change. For us to sit here and discuss police brutality without taking a look at the way in which we interact with each other would not be appropriate or beneficial to this meeting. So the facts are that youth, refer to each other as, blood, meaning family, but we are far more quick to spill our brother's blood than to support and give the brother the help that he needs. This is a concern. Youths are now killing each other for nothing more than postcodes. And the facts are, we don't own our own neighbourhoods. The council does and the government does. So why exactly and what are we fighting for? Where your strength should be in yourself and your peers as youth, it has become a weakness. And I'm talking to you, the youngers. It should be productive, but your actions and your mindset is destructive. The system has indeed turned you against each other. This is not by accident, this is by design. And until you, the youth, realise that there is an elaborate system in place to keep you divided and passive to the injustices of the state, nothing will change. You're ready to take the life of your brother in a second. Nothing will change within our communities until we address our mentality. Firstly, by realising, regardless of our location, this is how we'll make change. Culture or religious ideologies, we are all part of the human family. Christian, Muslim, why are you fighting? Do you not serve the same creator? God is not the author of confusion. So who created this animosity that would divide us as a people? And to the black people in this audience, how can we expect other races to truly respect us when we interact with each other in the way that we do? Our regressive condition is indeed the worst of any people, and it is only through unity and knowledge of self and submission to the creator of all things that we can be redeemed and finally show the world our true potential. So I say to my people in here, if you knew who you were, who you descended from, and the proud and noble history of your ancestors, then maybe then you'd pull your trousers up and begin to act like the kings and the queens that you are. The facts are, the values of our nation's youth, both social and moral, have been compromised to such an extent that most young people don't even know themselves anymore. Today's youth have an alarming aptitude for profanity, sex, violence and drugs. Your general lack of self-esteem or self-worth is a direct consequence of the negative, corruptive images and messages we feed you through our media on a dimension of platforms. Think about what we see on the TV and hear on the radio: profanity, sex, violence, etc. So consequently, depression, suicide, drug and alcohol addiction, and underage sex is arresting our nation's young, and the signs and dynamics that incur them have never been more apparent. So we like to feel that everything is okay, everything's fantastic, and sometimes to suggest otherwise is likened to blasphemy. So we live our lives ignorant of the fact that there is an elaborate system designed not only to confuse your mind, but ultimately to control it. This is why it is my intention to highlight the trials that you, the modern day youth, are subject to. The subtle social conditioning, the mental manipulation, and the moral and social contradictions that both surround and confound you. Why? Because we are simply the guardians of this earth for the future generations. And you, the youth of today, are the mothers and fathers, teachers and leaders of tomorrow. Therefore, if you are unable to find peace and objectivity in yourselves, how could you possibly run a world and govern nations with so much inherent problems and complexities of their own? Further to that, if it is you, the youth, who are not in control of your everyday lives, then who is? Each day we force feed you, our children, a diet of sex, vanity, profanity and violence, and then wonder why your moral and social values are eroding at such a startling speed. It's time you, the youth, made a declaration of independence to self and community to show the world the pain and sacrifice of your ancestors who fought for freedom is not in vain. It is you who must carry the torch of truth, justice and equality and, break free from the yoke of oppression, ignorance and bondage. And, we've got adults here, and adults, if we make a change, what's going to happen? Policies change, politics change, regions may change, but you, the youth, if you should change, the whole system of things has to change, and ultimately, the future of our world must change. Thank you.